just to be an informed consumer of information, there are two separate issues regarding East Templeton. One is how much would it cost to fully renovate the building and make it like a permanent town hall, that is where our permanent place to reside is going to be. That's one issue. The other issue, and that's, to be dealt with at a later time. The issue that we're currently dealing with in regards to East Templeton is what would it cost and the feasibility of moving in there as a temporary shelter, basically, if we are forced to leave here. Obviously, as Bob said, we can't wait long because, just the process of rewiring all the computers and having the IT people that would come, and phone people that would need to come out, it's quite a process to move. Not saying that we shouldn't do it, but I'm just saying we need to make sure that we have adequate time. But when we are talking about East Templeton, we are not talking about doing a full renovation of the building now. We are talking about making it a shelter so that it's up to code, so that we give our employees a safe, legal place to work. But we, beyond that, we're not looking pretty much at all beyond that. I know that we are in the process of applying for an ADA waiver so that we don't have to put a ramp on it right now because it's a temporary use building. If we could get a year or plus waiver so that we wouldn't have to comply with making it handicapped accessible at this point, not because we don't want to, but just because we don't have any money. And I think that's really, unless anyone has any options, those are really the two options that besides releasing here, the two options that we're looking at are either the senior center base first level or the East Templeton, correct, or no? Clearly, we own 252, and besides the fact that it's out to bid, there's no way that would be ready to be inhabited in, 12 weeks.
The other option is that while it's not a good option, it would be very crowded and uncomfortable, hard to work, we could move the majority of the selectman's office, the accountant, the treasurer, the collector. We could probably move all of those folks to the town clerk's building on that big side where the conservation is now. We'd probably have to move conservation perhaps to where Mike Pingpank is, move the conservation over there, perhaps move Mike over with the CERT team. But we could move there. It would be very crowded, would not be a good place, good environment to work in, but that is an option also.
And that, you said that's the clerk's office. I would make the argument, and obviously it's a suggestion, so thank you for bringing it up. Personally, I would make the argument that that building is in worse shape than East Templeton, or probably than moving into the basement of the senior center without a floor. So, we may want to, right.
I would make a motion that we pursue looking at East Templeton. If we can't get in there, then the senior center. And I think we should contact the sheriff's office, the sheriff's department, so that we can start cleaning up East Templeton and do what we can do without money until we get to the town meeting.
Right.
Because we still have some weeks that we can do some prep work before town meeting.
Do I have a second on that?
And does that mean, with that motion, that we would not enter into any negotiations to lease here, because we definitely have some options? I think it's too expensive, and I think that we should be spending our time fixing this other budget crisis rather than negotiating with him, because he really doesn't sound like he's going to be reasonable. An extra 30,000. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, we don't have.
So we would not be, right, we don't have it, right.
We don't have
So
it,
we,
so
just to
we're
not
not
do any more negotiating and just say we would be leaving.
And then the money that is currently used for rent here would be
Could be
available
used for something else.
to
fix
do some
something.
improvements.
Right.
So I have.
I second.
So Diane seconded that. Okay, so
Yeah.
go ahead.
So the other comment I would make is, with that, we'd have to pay $30,000 a year more here.
Right.
We're getting 4,000 square feet. If we were to move everybody from the town clerk's building and move the CERT people out of the Baldwinville Fire Station, we're only going to save at most probably $10,000. So we're going to spend 30 to save 10. It just makes no sense.
And I'll get to it in 1 second. There's just one thing before I forget. Because we discussed this on Friday as well at the meeting, that the only assuming that we get a waiver for the ramp, the only thing that would really have to be done prior to occupancy is to repair the furnace, correct?
No, it would not,
Roof?
The roof.
well, no, with the discussion that I've had with the building inspector, the roof has a leak, but we have the leak under control with the tarps. So it's not a health issue, the roof leak. Yes, it should be done, needs to be done, but it's not, doesn't have to be done. The furnace does have to be done. But if we present a plan that we can have it done before winter, we would be able to get temporary occupancy while we're doing that replacement, provided we get the waivers for the handicap accessibility. Because the three things that really are required to get temporary occupancy are the heat, the ramp, and the handicap restroom. We can get the waiver, or at least we're applying for the waiver, on the ramp and the restroom. And if we have a plan that we can execute before winter on the heat, then we can get our temporary occupancy.
And the funding, just to let you know, that we do have warrant articles, there's two, correct? Or no,
There's
one?
three. There should be.
Oh, yeah, there's 3 warrant articles that that will be voting the warrant tonight, but the selectmen voted on their articles on Friday that address this issue, requesting money from CPC funding that would be sufficient to repair the furnace and the roof, correct?
CPC
195,
funding,
yeah.
CPC, yes.
Yeah, so.
Preservation.
Preservation, right, just to preserve it, not to designate it in any kind of historical, but just to preserve the building, not to do renovations. So if that passes at town meeting, then obviously we will have the funding from, which doesn't come off the tax levy, it's already, would have that money. We are not counting on that. So our plans are not contingent, because obviously we have to be somewhere. So I believe that moving forward, at least my take on things is that we will be moving forward with an eye on doing renovations that need to be done based on the savings from paying rent here. Because the money that we pay, I mean, tens of thousands of dollars a quarter, so, being able to. Yeah, yes, Mr. Casper.
Do we pay for lights here?
Yes.
Do we pay for lights in this building?
Yes.
So how much more does that cost us?
We're not getting a light.
I mean, you pay the rent.
I-
How much more does the lights cost us?
They do a calculation.
I don't,
Well, but not yet, we've been here 4 years, plenty of time somebody knows.
I think that I had asked this at another meeting. I don't know what the numbers are. I don't know if you know that off the top of your head. But it was more like, okay, so wherever we're paying, to be honest, like, could we ask the light department to maybe cut us a break a little bit, you know? I brought that up more than
I'm just
once.
saying, when you're paying the lights, you're paying, we're
Right.
not getting,
But we would have to pay lights and water somewhere else. We have to pay it at the town clerk's office. We pay it at, but I mean, I think that we're good here about, but again,
why do we pay that? Light bill when it's a town-owned stuff.
well, there's costs to the light and water department also, but maybe to just kind of, could we get a reduced rate? Could we, because we are a town building, I mean, everybody has costs, so, but to ask for something, maybe it doesn't have to be big, but yes, Kate?
And I know it's not on the agenda,
Oh.
like, for this evening, but that.
We should do
If at
that.
some point we look to making a permanent pilot, payment made, that could also maybe possibly
part of
be
that.
part of, like, a set agreement also, with them as part of,
Put that windmill up to benefit us. It's supposed to help the school on stuff, it didn't help the school any far.
right, no, that goes right to the
wasn't
grid.
Yeah, it goes right
Really,
into the
it
grid.
goes into the whole grid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was supposed to be to give a little, see?
Yeah, I don't remember the whole thing about that, I'd have to do
Yeah.
some more reading, but I thought it was for the whole, it was put on that property, but it was for everyone.
Let's charge them more rent. Let's charge the grid more rent.
Did you
Everybody else
have,
will charge them more rent.
did you have your hand up?
I was
Kate?
just
Kate
gonna
was
say
gonna try
that we
to-
don't get separate bills directly from the light department for this building. We get it from JVM.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So they,
So they apportion
Yes.
it?
I don't know.
But for the other, like the town clerk's office
We
and,
get a bill.
do they have
We
separate
get
bills?
water,
We do
sewer,
get,
lights,
okay,
gas, yeah.
but not here.
but not here.
Dave, yes.
It'd be good information to know how much we pay, a portion of that bill, what it is. I'd like to know that myself. Yep. The other thing I'd like to point out is that the light department charges each and every meter a customer charge. Whether you're a municipal, a school, or whatever, you get charged per meter X amount to be a customer. I think the town of Templeton should be exempt from being a customer, where Templeton is the whole owner of Templeton Light.
Do they have a separate meter for this portion of the building?
No.
Now, that's why it's a portion, probably based on square
So it's
footage.
probably part of our contract.
Oh,
It is probably part of our contract too.
They could be looking at that building.
Monitor the receipt.
We're probably not paying our fair share, paying more than our fair share.
Yes.
Can I request that the Board of Selectmen please go back to the discussion at hand, which is, what are you gonna do about your town office lease and move?
Right, right. And that's,
Thank you.
well, that's part of what this discussion is, because.
Not
the-
really.
Well, the amount that we pay for electric, all of
Has
these
to do
things
with-
has to do with how much, whether there would be a cost
We
savings.
know it's gonna be too expensive here, this discussion was had on Friday as well, so I'm
Right.
just asking that we get back to the actual subject at hand.
The, so we have, first and a second, is there more discussion on the matter?
Yeah, I think we
Yes.
should look into the costs
Yep.
that we are paying here for light and water and, yeah, what's included, because I think that will help with our calculations as to what we can anticipate paying. And I think we should also go to the school department and find out what they were paying.
Right.
CBT.
Right. Is that, I don't know, is that something we can put on your agenda as well? That's-
How long I should listen?
I know you don't have much to do, so. Yeah. So now, we'll vote on this matter. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. And I believe that this matter will probably be on our agenda for every meet, not every week, every time we have a meeting going forward.
Right.
Because we'll need to press it, so we'll just kind of count that as a
Yeah.
given. The next item that we have is to commend and thank a retiring employee. Let me just get my paper situated, I know I have
Here you go.
it. Oh, thanks, Lynn.
That's the official.
Oh, so to read, this is the letter. It's dated April 7th, 2014. The Board of Selectmen of the Town of Templeton hereby recognizes Larry Benkowski for his 37 years of service to the community as a member of the Templeton Fire Department. Larry has served the community with devotion, care, and humility. He has been an example of what is right and just in our town. For this, we are in his debt. Larry has held a position of prominence in the community, raising a family, running a business, and caring for his fellow man with dignity and professionalism. Larry, please accept this recognition as a small token of our respect and admiration for your 37 years of service to Templeton. With respect, the Templeton Board of Selectmen. So I'd like to thank Larry for his 37 years of service, obviously, a debt that can't be repaid. Do I have a motion to sign this from the board to recognize Larry for his service?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
And then, is there any discussion? Did anybody want to say anything?
Thank you.
Okay.
It's a new, yes, there is.
Yes, sir.
Fire chief is here, so who's he appointed as deputy?
I'm not appointing anyone at this time.
Okay. If there's no other discussion, we'll vote. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. The next item is the 2014 Annual Town Meeting warrant articles for the Town of Templeton Annual Town Meeting to be held May 17th, 2017 at Narragansett Regional Middle School. Once this is, once we vote the warrant now, assuming that we do, it will be posted in the time prescribed by law. This warrant contains all the articles. The Board of Selectmen voted on their articles on Friday, and I believe that we just have a few questions about some issues that were left hanging from that meeting before we vote the warrant. But then obviously other departments voted, the Board of Assessors, the Community Preservation Committee, et cetera, voted amongst their own boards to have articles to be placed on the warrant. And those are on here as well and we won't be discussing really the content of those. Also on here are all of the citizens petitions. All of the citizens petitions we've heard from Carol were certified. So there are 12, 15? 12 citizens petitions that are on the warrant. If we vote it today, you can, this will be posted, besides being posted everywhere else that it's required by law to be posted, it will also be posted on the town's website, so if you want to read the content of all of those. And as usual, the Board of Selectmen in the town takes no official policy regarding citizens petitions. But the issues that I have, that I'm remembering from Friday that we wanted to address, where there was a question about the water department's.
Right. There were some questions that came to me from Selectmen. Number one, should the water department budget remain on the warrant? And I had some information to the effect that it shouldn't, so I took it off. The second one that was mentioned was Article 6, the Worcester Regional Retirement System, and should that article read the same way that it currently does? And you asked for a legal opinion. I sent the warrant to town council with that question. And the third question that came to me was, our citizens, does town council rule on the legality of citizens petitions? The answer is no. Citizen petitions are written in the warrant exactly as given to me, including spelling, punctuation, whatever. It's the exact wording of the citizen petition. If it passes, the warrant articles go to the Attorney General's office, where they have a special division that looks at the legality of decisions made at town meetings. And if anything on here violates state statute or the Constitution, state constitution, the Attorney General would make that decision.
And that's always the way, at least as far as I know, which isn't that far back, but that citizens petitions have been viewed that way, and also from a practical standpoint, because I've had someone else ask me about that. I mean, from just the practicality, if you have 20 people all asking for legal advice at $300, $400 an hour, you bankrupt the town in one go round. So that is one of the many reasons that citizens petitions are not, town council is not made available to citizens to determine the legality and wording of their petitions.
So Bob, when will, for the Worcester Regional Retirement Assessment, because I think the question was, if we were not putting the Light and Water's budget on the warrant, then are there wasn't that the question, are there retirement funds included in here, but you did not receive a reply on that?
I don't have a reply yet. I'm sure I will get a reply from Attorney Durensis soon. Also, the question that I just failed to mention here was, is it possible legally for the town to carry out the decision of the board to cease doing payroll and other billing?
Yep. And he didn't answer that yet.
But I'll have answers for that
And
soon, and I may hear from him tomorrow.
And even though we're voting the warrant tonight, the remedy for that would be that we just read, the motion.
The motion would be different.
Change the
Okay.
And did you also
Yep.
send him a copy of the DOR letter along with that request? So that,
I
because
did,
that's
no.
really the foundation of why these questions were
Right.
raised.
The DOR letter meaning declaring that the water department is a Chapter 164
Yeah.
department. I haven't sent that to him.
Yeah, because
He didn't get
that's really
that.
the foundation
have
and the
that.
basis of the questions.
And we'll send it to him.
And that's what the crux of the question is about, that DOR told us that, yes, water is run under that, as a, that statute. We don't, the town, meaning basically the town does not need to approve the budget for the water department. So then the question comes when we pay into Worcester Regional Retirement System, we make the payments and then we're reimbursed by water. But can the selectmen be signing on warrant articles, basically vendor warrant articles, to pay these bills when the town has not approved them? So can Light and Water do their own bills since they're responsible for their budget? And obviously, if the answer to that is yes, then we don't need to vote on those particular issues as part of Article 6. Does anyone else, does that answer any of the outstanding questions that we had from Friday?
I think so.
Yeah.
If so, I'll,
Well,
sorry.
There was
Sure.
one that I read through, Article 24 on page 9, payment in lieu of taxes for solar energy facility. And I remember, I was trying to find it today, and I couldn't find it. I believe it was an IGR issued by the Division of Local Services, that there is they came down with a ruling on how to calculate the pilot payment based on value. And I'm not sure if this went through the assessors. And I know selectmen signed the contracts, but I believe that this was supposed to go through the assessors.
Okay. Yeah, I know that.
Okay, so, I mean, it says submitted by the Board of Selectmen, but we
We
didn't
didn't
talk
submit,
about it
yeah.
on Friday.
We didn't.
So, I don't know.
I do have some communication from the assessors, but I can't say that it's specifically on that issue.
Okay.
What was the number for that?
So,
Well, if we find that it's not correct, we'll do a substitute motion.
right.
Okay, yeah. So if it's not, if this is incorrect, we'll just do a substitute motion.
Yeah.
Town floor. Yeah. I was wondering, I was like, I was there on Friday, I don't remember.
I was there too. All right, I will make a motion to accept the warrant as presented.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Yes, please.
Yes.
What are the 12 citizens petitions?
Do you mind if I just read them, Ken?
Well, oh, the titles.
You can read them out of the table
I'm
of
gonna-
contents there.
Oh,
They're all at the
table
end.
contents.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yep.
They are,
It starts with Article 36.
starts, yeah. Sex offender residency restrictions. Article 37 is an independent audit. Article 38 is independent audits of FY year 2013 and 14. Article 39 is a fluorosis warning. Article 40 is town meeting authority on fluoridation. Article 41 is advisory committee. Article 42 is restriction on Board of Selectmen. Article 43 is publication of town meeting notice. Article 44 is town meeting to be conducted by ballot. Article 45 is voting by ballot at town meeting. Article 46 is composition of regional school committee. And Article 47 is marijuana on town property.
Oh, it's all over. Tell us the difference.
Right.
State don't control the town, we just moved it. The state says,
Right.
Is there any more discussion regarding the warrant? If not, we'll vote. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. So that is, please post that as required by state law. The next item we have.
Sign tonight?
Oh, sorry.
Are you going to sign?
Oh,
tonight?
yes. Should we sign my copy? I
Yep.
don't know if it matters.
I think the board should make an amendment, if they would, that we are going to provide the operating budget, the annual operating budget in the document
Okay.
when that's completed.
Okay.
So,
I'll have to sign.
Yes.
The next item that we have is to discuss the budgetary process.
This was asked for by me, but it was like well over a week or two ago, and I've been doing a lot of research as far as what the Board of Selectmen should do, what the advisory board should do, and I think that there are a couple of warrant articles that are addressing that. I thought that, based on some of my research, that the Board of Selectmen should receive budgets first, now through a town administrator, and then go to the advisory board where they would advise. But again, there are warrant articles, and it's just really a process that I think that we should start. There's a municipal calendar. We should be starting that in the fall, and then just really, so that we're kind of not in this crunch again. So I think that'll probably be taken care of on town meeting floor. That's all.
And we've addressed this, and I know that
We
they're
talked about
having
this
their own
several
meeting.
times.
Yeah, we've talked about this several times, but it's my understanding this board will do its best to try to comply with the calendar as given out. For a long time, it was kind of this vacuum where I guess the Board of Selectmen didn't follow the calendar, or for whatever reason. So then there was this kind of vacuum of someone needed to do it, so the advisory board had stepped in. Luckily, with the help of Will, to kind of take over that process while we kind of limped from, you know, fiscal issue to fiscal issue. But now that we're trying to get things in order, we, I believe, are hoping to more fully comply with the calendar as set forth to kind of now that we'll have a town administrator, the town administrator will be able to work with the select board to take care of the budget, and then the advisory board can do what they are supposed to do and advise on it, and not have to deal with putting the whole thing together also, so. The next item on our agenda is Julie Richard, who requested to be on our agenda for tonight regarding Chapter 90 funds to be utilized in the spring in regards to repairs needed on Orchard Lane in East Templeton.
I just wanted to follow up from the March 24th meeting that I was at. I was told that by this meeting, I guess, I was put up on the last one, but, so I was told that I would have a list probably requested by the superintendent of highways. I'm wondering if the Board of Selectmen has that available as to his list of prioritized roads that should have been submitted for tonight's meeting, I guess. So I don't know that if you have that copy or not.
My understanding, he will have that ready at the end of this month or beginning of May. That is his schedule. And then once that will have his priority list for how he would like to use the Chapter 90 funds, which we approve. And then we will have at our full open meeting then, once we have that, to make both the priority list available to you and to the rest of the town, and then also discuss all matters that are on that list, and obviously provide an opportunity for residents, yourself, obviously.
So I guess my next question is, can the selectmen vote tonight in regards to putting some type of portion of funding in, out of the Chapter 90 funding that has been allocated for this fiscal year? Are they allowed to hold on to a portion of that funding and make sure that it's going to be allocated for Orchard Lane and East Templeton?
We can't until we see the list that's presented to us.
Do we have a date on when the list will be presented to the Board of Selectmen?
It's usually, it's finished end of April, beginning of May. I can ask for a firm date in that, and I would be happy to do that.
I requested a firm date on that on
Right.
March 24th,
Yeah.
and we can't get that prior to the end of April or beginning of May, correct?
Correct, right. They are short-staffed as well as many other departments, and so they will get it to us in their usual time frame. But we definitely will not let, we definitely will not let this fall through the cracks. And as soon as that, as we have that available, we will follow up and be sure to discuss that priority list at a selectmen's meeting. To have individuals who have a concern in that present their cases and make their arguments as to why we should allocate funds in a certain way.
So I would have to come back?
I mean, if you would like to, you don't have to, but I mean, that would be the process.
So we have to present why we...
No, you don't have to, it provides an opportunity for you to, so if these are the items that are on the list and you don't agree with the list, if you think that, oh, I don't think I should be down here, just the same way that we have open meetings for everything, yeah, then you can say, well, this is why I think that I should be, the Board of Selectmen should take me, my road of higher priority than the others, or how it was assigned by the Superintendent of Highways. Yes, Dave?
Is this open to talk about the roads in town? No, we're gonna talk about one road, can we talk about them all? So I'd like to put a little piece in for the thousands of residents in town that ride on bad roads. Just to name a few: Turner, South Road, Otter River Road, Partridgeville Road, Riverside Road, Bridge Street, Ragged Hill, Hubbardston, 1st, 2nd, 3rd Streets, Royalston Road, Graves Development, all are in worse shape, I can state that as a fact, than Orchard Lane. We can't fix them all, but if everybody packed this room with the same complaint that she has, or other residents have, you're gonna need a bigger town hall. We just don't have the money to fix them all. I think the way to go in East Templeton is with the grant issue. Do it the way we should do it with the water mains, the whole 9 yards, or we're throwing money away. We don't have a main thoroughfare that the police can travel from Templeton to Otter River at a high rate of speed like they need to, other than going to Baldwinville and back, they gotta go down Otter River Road. Anybody wants to run Otter River Road over 30 miles an hour, get a record, get you the rest of the way.
Yes, ma'am.
If somebody's having a problem with their road, then they should be here. I don't see a gazillion people here complaining about their road. We are here about Orchard Road.
We've been here
Yes.
for years.
I appreciate getting an answer to the first question, and I will continue to come to the Board of Selectmen and see how are they going to process the Chapter 90 funds, because I know in the end, it's your choice and it's your vote, and I appreciate that. My second question that I had for you tonight was hoping to have you, I guess, do a vote or give me a date on when you plan to send out CDBG grant surveys to the residents of East Templeton, and when you plan to set a meeting, informational meeting for those residents, so that you can explain the importance of returning those surveys to assist with getting the town a grant for fiscal 2015 to repair roads in the town.
Those will go out the same time this upcoming year as they did last year, correct? Am I correct in assuming that now?
That's
something
that the CDBG does,
Right.
not something the board does. That's Michael Pinkpank, and
Right.
he recently sent out an email, you know, I think I had asked him to do that, and I believe I had asked him to include Julie in that, because I had a lengthy discussion with him at the town clerk's office one day about the importance of doing that, and I think he had a schedule. I can't open the emails here, it won't allow me to, but there's definitely there's timing for that he talked about.
In addition to a firm date for the list, I can also put that on to email him, and if you'd like, I can CC you in that email to see when his schedule is. My understanding was that that portion of the project would go along with next year's grant. I know that obviously it would be in citizens' best interest for us to do some more educating regarding the importance of the surveys. I know that it was on the town's website, and we discussed it at these meetings and had it televised on Channel 8, but obviously if you don't watch Channel 8 all the time or our meetings, you may not find that information. So I think that is definitely something, given the return rate that we got this year, that I would imagine.
Julie had talked about door knocking also.
Right.
To really have a good schedule for that.
I think we should ask Mike if the board drafted a letter to the residents.
To the residents,
Could
yeah.
that be included in the mailing when they mail out
That would be a
the
good idea.
applications?
Yes.
Okay, just to clarify a few things and ask you to clarify as well. He sent out 2 mailings to the residents of East Templeton. First one came without a stamped envelope. No one understood anything. There were no posters posted anywhere in this town that I'm aware of. There was one meeting that was tentatively set up to be at a restaurant in East Templeton, and then it was canceled. So there were no informational meetings. Unfortunately, not enough surveys were sent back to whomever, I believe, you.
CDBG. Well, CDBG. Right.
And you.
They don't come
Right,
to us.
well, they go to him,
Right.
and then he brings them to you, and, right?
No,
Is that how?
they're
Okay.
our grant writers.
So second mailing went out from him as well. No other informational stuff went around, other than what you just stated, the Channel 8 and the selectmen meetings, with a stamp. At that time, that was when I, as a resident of East Templeton, chose to not throw it away and say, this looks pretty important, and send mine in. So, long story short, we did not go for the grant this year. If we go back to how it was presented for Back Bay, I want as much public knowledge out there as there was out there for Back Bay by the selectmen of Templeton. That's my request.
Right.
First off. Second off, you can start anytime, from what I understand. You could start yesterday. I do believe I asked about it on March 24th. Getting the word out there for residents. I attended a water meeting last night. They volunteered to send out those surveys, and they plan to have a discussion with Mike and see if that's possible. They were also the ones that sent out the surveys the second year when it didn't go through the first year for the Back Bay
Right.
project. So, that being said, I'm here tonight to ask, I guess, to have a double mailing,
She came into the office.
so that, for whatever reason, that department may not have an opportunity to do that right now. Maybe your department can. I understand everyone's busy, so am I. I'm asking for another survey to be sent out to the residents of East Templeton, talking about what could come out of a grant that could be processed for our village in East Templeton in 2015. That was my second question. I'm not gonna get an answer, we're gonna wait, I guess, until you've got a list from the highway superintendent
Regarding 90, right, chapter 90, yeah.
regarding that, and that's when you might plan to send out these surveys?
They're two separate,
Or can you,
they're two unrelated
Okay, so they're two
processes.
unrelated.
Right, one is the
Okay.
chapter 90 funds that we get regularly that we then allocate
Okay.
with, the other is a separate, it's a grant that we
Right.
have to apply for, obviously, in every year.
so can I request that the selectmen send that out? Or have Mike Ping Pang or whoever's responsible for sending out the survey? I'd like to get a survey by the end of April.
Right, well,
That's possible.
right, my point is that this year's round has already come and gone.
Yes,
For
it
this,
has.
right.
Yeah.
So this, I'm sure the surveys have to be within a certain time frame of when he's going to do it again. So if the applications go out, are due in 9
From my
months, right?
understanding,
Mr.
you
Chairman?
can start processing just the conversations within your town of how important it is. So I'm not sure why that would be put on hold.
Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, I think at this point, I think we need to table this discussion. We've had this discussion for 2 meetings now. We had it on Friday, and we have it tonight, until we can get more information from Mike Ping
Yep.
Pang on the process and what exactly happened and when happened. I do have an email from Mike that I wasn't able to print out to bring to the meeting, and I think that will help clarify the situation.
Okay, yes, Holly.
I just wanted to point out that, first of all, we don't have the money or the time to send out the survey. That's something that the CDBG does. It's not something that our office does. On the notifications for the meeting, Mike had 3 meetings, and that was the email that was sent to you, and I got a copy of it. He sent out 2 mailings. There were 3 posted meetings that were here in this room. Nobody attended.
Selectmen meetings, correct?
No, CDBG meetings that were posted. He posted them all over the place. They were on the website. There was a lot of stuff in that email that we both got that Julie's talking about. It was out there. And I believe he also said in there what he suggested that you do to help, like they did in Back Bay.
Right.
And that wasn't to do with the board. It was to do with getting people out there in the community to help get the word around.
Correct.
Like a grassroots thing.
Right. But he
So I
also.
just wanted to clarify that he did a lot.
Right, oh,
A lot
absolutely,
was
I
done.
agree. I'm not saying that he hasn't done anything. What I'm saying at this point is, where are we going with this?
Right, well, I can't answer that question for you now. I will speak with Mike, myself as well, to get the information, the timetable that you're looking for, and to also to read the email and to see kind of what he had suggested moving forward, to answer your questions, and to get the information that you are requesting. I just don't have access to it at this time.
And
So
just,
I will make a motion to table this discussion for now,
And-
because we skipped an item that we really need to get back to.
Okay.
and I would like to just make one more
If we could-
statement prior
we
to
have-
that.
We have a motion on the table, so I have to address that. I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second, yeah.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Yes.
I would just like to make a statement that I was here Friday night as well. And yes, this discussion has come up a couple of times. And as a resident of Templeton, I would appreciate a little more respect than what I just received.
Okay.
That
Okay.
being said, I just want to remind you that I sat through your meeting tonight and 4 repeated things were brought up on your agenda.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We'll take a vote. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Diane?
No.
Okay, and I'll vote yes. Okay. And then the item that you wanted to, sorry, Julie, the agenda item that you wanted to.
I think.
Oh, Bob, right.
You want to review the town administrator, take up the town administrator search committee update?
Oh, yes, sorry. Skipped right over that. Sorry, John, no.
The chair of the committee is here.
Sorry, you could
And he can bring you up to date.
My apologies, that was
Work of
the,
the committee.
yeah, that was the third item on the agenda, and I skipped over it.
That last candidate withdrew his name.
They're not allowed.
No, it was just we couldn't release it, what she said. We'll see what John. Yes, sir.
You're lucky I'm still awake.
I know, I apologize for that. You're right there, number 3.
Okay, the search committee met, Thursday, was it last Thursday?
Yes.
Yeah. Virginia, Bev and I, and we went through each application. And basically, we matched up the applications to the job description, and we put them in 2 piles, the ones that didn't fit, and the ones we thought might fit. So when we got through all of them, we went to the ones in the might pile, and we went over all of those a second time. And we were able to come up with 5 candidates that have the acceptable education and the acceptable experience. I just got this from Holly that one of the candidates has withdrawn, so we're down to 4, but that usually happens in this type of,
It's 5, we had 6 in the thing.
we had 6?
Yeah. So we're down to 5 that,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
right, but the other one withdrew, so there's 5 left.
Okay, there's 5 left, okay. I misunderstood.
That's an already amended.
So did I.
Okay, so I think we were pleased with the final candidates that we did have. I think we have a good group. The committee feels that they've essentially done what you asked, so unless you have anything else you'd like us to do, we think that we're finished.
Okay.
Although we will, if you ask, we're happy to do anything else you might like in the process. But I think what I would do is, if you want to have Bob check references and then schedule interviews, just remember that we're at the finalist stage now, so all the interviews will be in public.
Yep. And just to make sure we're clear, so that is the finished, completed, voted on list of the
Yes.
search committee?
Yes.
Okay, great.
I might recommend that you do the interviews and then winnow people in the interviews. Reference checking is becoming very difficult to reach people, to get them to call you back, and so that's going to consume a lot of time, and I'd rather not, I think it'd be a waste of time to consume time with someone whom you interview and say, well, no, in the no pile. So if you could winnow it down maybe to fewer candidates, I think that would be the most cost-effective way in terms of the time required.
Would that be something that you believe the committee would be willing to take on?
Well, again,
Obviously,
the
we can speak
sentiment
to them,
was
yeah.
that we were done unless there was something else that you wanted us to do.
So this would be the something
So
else?
I would think
Perfect.
that the committee would be amenable to doing that.
Okay, great.
If that's what you want.
I will accept a motion to request that to accept the list as presented and to request that the search committee as currently comprised would conduct interviews to further winnow down the list of finalists to then be checked for references if that's what we want to do.
Will the committee be doing it in public?
The list is now public, and your interviews will be in public. Now, it's becoming increasingly a standard where we do a query check, and some communities even do a check on credit. So if that's something you want done, we need to prepare a form to ask each person as they come to the interview to sign, because we don't have the authority to do that without their consent.
We pay for those Cory checks though, correct, or do they pay for those?
No.
Those are no charge.
There's no charge for
Our
it.
fees are no charge.
Do I have a motion?
I just think at this point, if we have 5 candidates and one just dropped, we had 6 and one just dropped out, I think maybe the board should do the interviews. And just,
You think what?
Have the board do the interviews?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I think that we should dissolve their committee, and they've done their
They've done their
homework,
job.
and that's what we asked them to do, and I think that 5 is not unreasonable. So that's why I didn't, no, I think the board should do that too, Julie, I agree.
Do I have a
I think
motion
that's
in
our
that direction then?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I'll take a motion of any kind.
I'll make a motion that,
That we discuss,
that-
oh, we'll
that-
discuss as soon as we have
that-
motions.
okay, so do you want me to make a motion first to dissolve their committee?
We can do it all together.
Okay, I make a motion to dissolve the search committee and to also have the board do the interviews for the 5 candidates.
Would you second that?
Did I say that, did I say that right?
Yeah, no, you got
Is
it.
that first one still there, or are we scrapping
That's
that?
gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
It never happened.
we're just scratching
Yeah.
that.
Okay, so discussion, yes, sir.
Just out of curiosity, how many applications did you have?
There was around 20, we had
That's
one
great.
that looked like a pretty good candidate drop out before we actually get involved in the process, but you have that happen, that's along the way, yeah.
That many, huh?
Several
That's
out of
great.
state.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions before we vote?
Was there a second? Oh, okay.
Well, before we vote, well, I'll wait till we vote. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. And thank you very much for your
Thank you.
service, and if you see Virginia. or
Thank you to Bev and
you,
Virginia
as
also
well.
for doing
Yeah.
that work.
Thank you for working. Yeah.
Now,
Together
as
and getting
as you
that
go
done.
along in the process, what you're gonna have to do is you essentially have to ask all the candidates the same questions.
Right, right.
Right.
So you're gonna have to put some time and thought into what you're going to ask.
Mhm.
And if you'd like, I'm certainly willing to
I can do that too. I can give you some
participate in that and give you some advice if you'd like.
Okay, great, thank you. And we will, I'm sure, have this on our next agenda as well to look at our interview sheet and questions that we're asking to. Well, thank you very
All right,
much.
you good?
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right.
As we move on to selectmen's comments, I would like to cede the floor to Bob and any
Just that
issues.
the bid on the 252 Baldwinville Road has been posted on the Central Register. It'll come out on Wednesday. We're also going to release a bid. Holly has prepared this. I'm putting the particulars in tomorrow for our property and liability insurance to see if we can save some money on that. As you know, I would recommend that in the new fiscal year, the town go out to bid for health insurance, but it's too late to do that. They insist that you sign on May 1, and that's a long and detailed process. Kate is doing good work on tax liens, and that we are targeting the end of this month to have any company that's interested in buying the tax liens come in and take a look at the portfolio and give us a bid on that. We will take a bid from the company that wants to take the highest number of liens. They won't take them all, obviously, so if one wants to take 10, the other wants to take 5, we obviously want to sell 10. And that'll bring an infusion of money into the town, which would become free cash next year and part of our reserves. And also, I'm connecting Holly tomorrow with someone who is going to be assisting in preparing for a tax title auction of the 5 properties that the town owns and is going to dispose of. This is not going to bring us a lot of money because I believe all 5 properties are not buildable, and typically they would be bought by abutters. But it restores the property to the tax rolls, and the town is no longer being a landlord. So those are the things that I wanted to mention to you. I think that's it. I wanted to bring you up to date on what the conversations I've had with the DOR, but I did that earlier tonight. So this is going to be a low-key meeting, but I'll write you a long email telling you what the outcome is. I think it's going to be a very important meeting.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Oh,
I'm
okay,
sorry.
sorry.
Bob, at the beginning of the meeting, you gave us a warrant for annual, did we do something?
That's the
with
election warrant, yeah.
We already voted that. It was, right, it's just been confirmed.
Did we sign that?
Yeah, you have to
Just
sign
sign
it,
it.
but you've
Oh, we just
already
haven't
voted
signed
it.
it yet?
yeah.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, so we can go in the office and sign the official one, and then it can be posted.
Okay, fine.
Are we having a meeting on Monday, the 14th?
Is that our normally, a
That
regularly
would be-
scheduled?
Next, the
Yeah.
21st.
I already have a few agenda items for it.
Okay.
Okay, but that is, at least in for the next few weeks, I'd like to try to get back on schedule of having the meetings when we're supposed to, as opposed to every week. So and I swear, I apologize, I don't even know what
I
day
have
we're
it down.
supposed to have
I have
them.
it down.
Is it the second and fourth?
Second and-
It's the second and
That's
fourth
when it's usually-
Monday. So at least for the next couple weeks, I'm hoping to just have our meetings on the second and the fourth to try to get into a routine, but is it the second or, it's the second?
It's the
Yes,
second.
Monday is the
second.
schedule.
Okay, so we are having another meeting next week.
Okay.
But it is hopefully our first one in, hopefully going every other, or second and fourth, like.
I have the 28th also.
Right,
I have 14th and 28th.
Yeah.
right. And then we'll have, yeah.
21st
Oh, which is good because the
21st
Monday's a
is-
holiday anyway,
21st
it's
Patriots
Patriots
Day.
Day, yeah. So no meeting the week of the 21st, God willing.
All right.
Okay, Selectmen's comments?
I
Yes,
actually
Ms.
do.
Fair.
On Saturday, there'll be a meat raffle for Gilman Waite, to raise money for Gilman Waite. I believe that's Saturday at 7, and I believe it's at the Legion.
Mm-hmm.
And the rat race is on Saturday as well.
Be safe.
I'll get you a little history on that.
I know that there are several politicians, I won't mention any names, but there are several politicians, both current and prospective, that will be canoeing in the rat race. So if you have a complaint, that's it. Now is a good place to go to get them all cornered in a canoe. They can't get away from you because they'll be in the river. So, yep, I'll see if Doug wants to.
Yeah, the only thing I have is, we had the open house at the senior center last Saturday, and it was very well attended. We had over 60 people come through for the open house, and it was a good event. Thanks everybody who came.
Okay. Diane.
Okay, so I have, a woman called me today through MOC. It's the Coordinated Family and Community Engagement Program, and they are located at 12 Elm Street in Baldwinville. Do you know where the laundromat is? They're above that, and they are a program through MOC, and it's not just for low to moderate income, and she's looking to reach out to the community. They do things like give books to preschoolers. They've been going to the library, but they're having a puppet show on May 3rd at 12 at the Congregational Memorial Church, which is right next door to them. There's also, I think, some kind of there's something at the church this coming Saturday that they're also involved in. They just really want the community to know that they're there. They also would like to be added to the agenda. I thought it was going to be the 21st, so I was wrong when I talked to her today. So I would have to ask her, I will have to call her, her name is Sonia, and see if she can come. She just, next week, this coming Monday, I tend to think the answer's going to be no, and she'll come at the end of the month. But she just really wants us to know what they're about, what they do, to inform the community, and to really, I gave her a lot of people's names to call, the school, really like helping food pantry, just all kinds of different things, which I think is a wonderful asset to our community, along with, I told her to contact Bethany, then we're gonna have a VSO person, so to really kind of work all that together seemed really exciting, so.
I think this Saturday, they're doing a food drive.
And to bring, okay, thank you, I know, we talked about, like, for 45 minutes today, about a lot of stuff, and she really just, she wants to know what she can use Channel 8 for, to just really, like I said, to get the word out to the community that they're here and that they really want to be involved, so.
Do you have anything we can put on the website?
I did ask her, I gave her your email address, and if she wanted to send something to you, I'd given her Aaron's name, so I overwhelmed her with information and people today.
And it's the Montechusett Opportunity Council, if anybody wants to Google them and check out their website.
Yeah, but it's called the Coordinated Family Community Engagement Program, and she said unfortunately, Like, it kind of comes with like, oh, it's only for, you know, needy families, and that's really not true, is what she really wanted to stress to me, that, you know, they're gonna give away books to kids of, I mean, just not just needy people, so, you know, but that was really my big thing for today.
Yes.
Citizens comments or?
Well, I'll cede my citizens' comment to you.
I'd just like to take a moment to recognize the passing of Mr. Casper, Mark Casper in the Highway Department, and also recognize Larry for his service to the community over the years. Two very dedicated people that, you know, were able to give to the community. And one final mention on that is Doug. I just like to recognize him personally. My wife and I came up to the senior center over the weekend, took the tour, froze our butts off. It was great. It was very cold in there. We liked it. And I'd just like to say that the efforts that you, especially, and your team have amassed to create what you've got there is phenomenal. Kudos.
Thank you.
Do you have two sets of books? What? Do you have two sets of books?
It's been, yeah, it's the project, it's been a good project, it's been a lot of fun, there have been a lot of people that have worked very hard, and it's really good to finally see it, so. Moving forward, getting close. Mark is a big part of it. I mean, when they were doing the dirt work at the beginning of the project, you know, Mark had a lot of vacation, so he took his own vacation time, yet still came and worked every day of his vacation at the senior center. So he's was extremely dedicated and an outstanding individual.
The only comment that I have, and we can officially vote this at our next meeting as well, is that I've had a request, both obviously warranted, that the annual report be dedicated this year to both Charlie and to Mark for their service to the community as well. So I would like to formally make that request as well, that we do that. And that is all that I have for comments. So, yes, ma'am.
At the food pantry, United Way was supposed to be to help paint and build some shelves. And they've had a little glitch. I don't know if they're going to be able to come in and help, but